The Polk County School Board, along with some incredible community partners, are giving students a close-up look at an industry that feeds the nation. Coming up on Polk Place, we will talk about AgriFest and how you can help. Make sure you stick around. Welcome to Polk Place. I'm your host, Tina Mann, and joining me in the studio today are Carol McKenzie, the Executive Director with Polk County Farm Bureau.
Good morning.
Sorry about that.
Good morning.
Paul Webb with the Polk County Workforce Education, Agriculture, and Public Service. Welcome.
Good morning.
And Nicole Walker, the Division Director for the Polk County Board of County Commissioners Extension Service, also known as IFAS Extension Offices in Polk County. Welcome back.
Thank you, Tina.
So, I know this has been a program that's been very long-standing, so why don't you tell us a little about AgriFest and what it is?
Well, the planning for the first AgriFest began in 1988 with some extension service personnel, the school board personnel, and the current executive director at the time of Polk County Farm Bureau, along with other ag community folks. And their goal was to bring a program where children could be interactive with agriculture, learn about it from basically from the roots up, if you will. And so they started planning in 1988. As I said, the first event was held in 1989 at the former Citrus Dome in Winter Haven. At that time, it was the first one was a one-day event, but even on the first day, they had 600 children there. So it started there, grew, more partnerships to what it is now, which is a 10-day event with 600 students approximately each of those 10 days.
Wow, that's a lot. So about 6,000 total.
Yes.
That's right.
So what ages are these kids typically?
It's fourth grade.
Fourth grade.
And there is a reason for that. When folks from the school board and extension put their heads together, they looked at the curriculum at the time and the programming they were looking at, and I think basically decided we feel like this is the right age group fit for what we want to accomplish.
That's right. And another thing is it really fits well in that transitional time. We're introducing these students to the agriculture industry, and then in just 2 more years when they go on up into middle school, a lot of them will have the opportunity, if they've not been involved in 4-H, to get involved in agriculture classes in the FFA. So it gets them that little bit of a hook and that little bit of an interest and sparks that, so we can roll that right on into our curriculum.
Excellent. I probably was 4th grade in 1989 actually, and I remember going to programs at the Orange Dome, but I'm not sure if that was the one we went to. I imagine that as the agricultural climate has changed in Polk County over the years, so has the program. So what do you guys focus on now? What are these kids experiencing or learning?
Well, there are 6 areas, and unfortunately, because we don't have as much time each day with them, we split the students up into 2 rotations, and they each get to see 3 areas.
Cool.
We focus on phosphate, and phosphate industry is huge still in Polk County. We focus on livestock industry, the citrus industry, of course. Small farms, which incorporates blueberries, fruit, other fruit production, vegetables, bees, and poultry. Also the plant industry, horticulture industry, and forestry.
Well, we're lucky here in Florida, and especially in Polk County, because we have such a diverse climate and such a long growing season for a lot of things. And I mean, I know there's some things we can't grow because it needs the cold, but there's so many things that grow here and thrive here, and so many industries that, like you mentioned, that just all around the county. So it's important for them to learn.
The fact that it's grown so exponentially over the years and continues to be such a popular field trip for teachers.
Yes.
And one of the really cool things that we've started to see over the last few years is we now have teachers coming, bringing their students who came to AgriFest when those teachers were in the 4th grade.
Nice.
So
Yes.
Paul searches them out. We've just started searching them out every year now because we know we're getting to that age group that we're starting to see that. And that's just really phenomenal. It's very exciting.
We
next
have a young lady
generation.
that's been working with us the last few years who came to AgriFest as a 4th grader. She came back to AgriFest as an FFA member and worked as a group leader. And now she's coming back as an industry partner.
That's awesome.
So she's come full circle.
Oh, this isn't open to the public. This is only for, like, you know, 4th grade students. But I know
right.
you include some public involvement as far as sponsors and volunteerism. So if somebody's out there and they have a heart for this, how can they help?
Oh, absolutely. Well, we do a lot of our recruiting through the Polk County Volunteer Service. We have a great number of ag community partners, citrus growers, ranchers who come in and participate. Of course, the extension personnel, the master gardeners, the FFA students, the 4-H students. It really is a big family of folks who come together who have such a passion for this. But if someone would like to become involved, I can give you the information on a telephone number that they can call, and that would be 863-533-0561, extension 112. Call us, let us know you're interested. We do background checks, of course, so we will thoroughly vet that, but we'd just love to have anybody who has a passion for it, has a passion for students, has a passion for education, and particularly a passion for agriculture to come and be a part of it.
So what do those volunteer opportunities look like? What are they going to do?
So there are 3 different opportunities. One is to be a group leader. So we break the kids up into the 6 groups to go to the 6 different stations. So we need at least 2 people per group. Sometimes we get more, just to guide them safely to the stations and help them get organized and to provide some support for the station leaders. The other volunteer opportunity that's available in the citrus station specifically, the kids get a great experience in being able to not only learn more about the local industry and how the fruit is processed into juice, but they get to juice their own orange, which for so many kids is the first time they've ever done it. And we like to ask them, how did it taste? And they say, really sweet or really tart, or one or the other.
Depending on the orange they get.
Depending on the orange they get. So we need volunteers who are there in the kitchen who are preparing the oranges for the kids to juice. And then the other volunteers usually come to us through industry, and those are the folks that are at the stations who are either helping teach or they're helping support the main teacher. An example of that is in our livestock station. The extension livestock agent, Bridget Stice, does the teaching, but there's always also a member of the cattle industry. Usually they'll come in and they'll bring their working horse with them, and for a lot of kids it's the first time they've seen a horse. It's the first time they've seen a real cowboy on a horse. And there's also a special treat that I will not reveal, since this is going to be on television, that they get from the cowboy as well.
How exciting. I want a special treat from the cowboy. I love horses.
And we do try to make sure that they have takeaways from
That's
each
right.
station.
Each station that they go to, they'll either have something to eat. As Nicole said, they get the orange juice from the citrus station. At the small farm station, it's usually blueberries or some other kind of fruit slice.
Nice.
The horticulture station, they get to plant their own plant.
I was about to say, I've had 3 go through this, and I'm pretty sure that I remember all 3 of my kids coming home with plants. That's what I remember.
So they get to plant their own plant and bring that home. The phosphate station, they get to dig in a pile of phosphate rock
To look for fossils?
and look for fossils and look for shark's teeth. And they always come away with something from there.
Very cool.
That's one of the hardest stations to pull them away from.
That's right.
That's
It's hard to
At
get
the
them out
end
of
their
those rocks.
session time, yeah.
And then the beef station, they get something that is a beef byproduct, and we'll kind of keep that one as a
surprise.
surprise for when they come there. And the final station is the Forestry Station. Each one of the students that goes there gets what we call a tree cookie. It's just a thin slice of a pine tree that they can look at it and tell the age of the tree
Very cool.
and what was happening at that point in that tree's life.
That is very cool. So it sounds like your volunteers have to be somewhat educated. Do they have to go through any kind of training or prior to?
We do have a volunteer workshop where we walk them through, okay, this is what your day is going to look like, this is the timeline, the schedule, you know, we need to keep on schedule. When you're routing 600
Right.
students around a complex, it's important to stay on schedule, make sure everybody knows where the stations are. So it usually typically works out perfectly with our volunteers. The really neat thing about our volunteers is that we find once they come, that we have, for example, we have county employees who will come and we'll see them next year. They'll be back. We have folks that come down, down from the north at about this time or about that time in the spring every year, and they come down, they make a point to get in touch with us. We're in town, we want to come back. We have couples who have come multiple years coming from out of state. So it's just really neat that we find that once we have a volunteer come and
keep wanting to come
experience
back.
it, they want to come back. So, but yes, there is some training, but we're also fortunate that we end up with some pretty experienced folks, and a lot of times the feedback that we get post-event from our volunteers is some of the most valuable feedback we can get, because we can take that and tweak things for next year. Because
Excellent.
they are our ambassadors. So
Absolutely. So let's go back to the background checks for a moment.
Okay.
Are those processed through the school board? And is that something that they have to pay for themselves, or do you guys do
There's
it?
no cost to the background check. We use an internal resource here in the county for those. So it's just
Excellent.
basic information that's provided, the address and birth date, driver license number.
Excellent. That's always important to know, because I know signing up to be a volunteer with my kids' school, I had to, provide my own background check, not my own background check, but the money for it. So that's good to know that it's pretty much free to volunteer.
Yes.
And I mean, it does sound fun. I've unfortunately been so busy the last few years as a county employee that I've wanted to and I haven't been able to. So maybe this year I will.
you're always invited.
Well, thank you guys coming out. This is going to be a great event for the 31st year in a row. AgriFest is sponsored by Polk County Farm Bureau, Polk County Schools, IFAS Extension Polk County, which is also the Extension Services Division of the Polk County Board of County Commissioners, and members of the agricultural industry. Annually, more than 300 teachers and 6,000 Polk County fourth graders learn about the area's major agriculture commodities during the 10-day event. Students and their teachers explore interactive exhibits and attend hands-on workshops on citrus, beef cattle, phosphate, beekeeping, horticulture, forestry, aquaculture, blueberries, and small farms. Community involvement through volunteering helps make this annual event possible. The 2020 AgriFest event will take place March 9th through 13th and March 16th through 20th. To learn more about the event or volunteer, call 863-533-0561 or look them up on the web at www.pcfb.org.